Okay. So, as I was just talking about, so there's a little movie coming out the week prior to Barbie. And this movie, as I said, it's one of the top five most anticipated films of the year. I mean, we've already had Guardians. The Flash was right up there. We all saw how that did. Indy was right up there. We all saw how that did. The next big movie, okay, is only about a week away. And that's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So this film, so all the embargo lifted today. Everybody, everybody's given this positive ratings. Everybody. And so, not that the positive ratings needed it, okay? Not that it says if you like this, go see it, because either you're going to be a fan or you're not, okay? But it's fascinating when stars come out and make comments about things that they want to keep going and doing. So Tom Cruise just on a couple days ago, okay, he turned 61 years old. God, I hope I look that good when I'm 61. But nonetheless, um, but he just turned 61. He's been acting. His first, one of his very first roles was all the way back in 1980 with Taps. He's been acting for over 40 years. And he's worked with a myriad of directors, a number of stars, just story after story, Academy Award winners. I mean, he's had, without winning an Oscar, he's probably had one of the most distinguished careers of all time. I mean, that's being genuine and honest. You know, his career is really broken into two halves. The first half was from like 1980 to 1996. Okay, doing all of those films. I mean, 86 just sent him into another stratosphere with Top Gun, literally and figuratively. Uh, but that's 16. And then from 96 to the present, the next 27 years, okay, he's given back. All he has done is Mission Impossible films. And they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, so by the way, guys, like I said earlier in the show, to start off the show, stay tuned for Friday when I'll be coming back here and talking about Mission Impossible Fallout. So right now on the channel, you can watch. I'll leave the link up in the little box there. Um, I've reviewed every single Mission Impossible. I've rewatched them and gone back and watched them and reviewed them. Every single Mission Impossible film. So we've only got one left, and that's Fallout. So I'll be doing that on Friday. And then, of course, we have this on next week. Anyways, the point is, he wants to continue making films until he's Harrison Ford's age. Harrison Ford just turned 81, 82, 80 or 81. So here is the article. And it says, according to Variety, Tom Cruise wants to keep making Mission Impossible films until he's 80. Just hope Harrison Ford, and just like Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, I hope to still keep going. Harrison Ford just wrapped up his tenure as Indiana Jones in the fifth and final installment in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which opened in theaters just a few weeks before the actor's 81st birthday. Tom Cruise hopes to have the same longevity when he comes to play Ethan Hunt in Paramount's long-running Mission Impossible franchise. Speaking to the Sydney Morning Herald of the Australian premiere, Dead Reckoning Part 1, Cruise said he wants to keep making Mission Impossible movies until he's Ford's age. Cruise just turned 61 a couple days ago. Harrison Ford is a legend. I hope to still keep going. I've got 20 years to catch him, Cruise said. I hope to keep making Mission Impossibles until I'm his age. Although Ford ended his run as Indiana Jones at 80, he has no plans to give up his acting career. I don't do well when I don't work, he said in June when announcing he will not retire from acting. I love to work. I love to feel useful. It's my Jones. I want to feel helpful. And it's the people you get to work with, the intensity, the intimacy of collaboration. Cruise also weighed in on the viral photos of him holding up movie tickets to the summer tentpoles of Barbie and Oppenheimer. The actor admitted that he hasn't actually seen either tentpole just yet, but he plans on doing so opening weekend. I grew up seeing movies on the big screen, Cruise said. That's how I make them. And I like that experience. It's immersive. And having to feel that community and industry, it's important. I still go to the movies. I want to see both Barbie and Oppenheimer, he said. Excuse me. I'll see both opening weekend. Friday, I'll see Oppenheimer first, and then on Saturday, I'll see Barbie. So, yeah, I mean, this is the fact that he's still making these movies 27 years later. More, yeah, I mean, 27 years later. And it's just, that's the thing about him. That's the thing that people don't understand about Tom Cruise. And this is why I keep reiterating to people, he is the last movie star out there. And you say, well, what about Leonardo DiCaprio? He's a movie star. You're right, he is a movie star. But he's a different kind of movie star. Okay? Tom Cruise is the only person in Hollywood that not only produces his own things, but he will spend years developing them. Everything, that's why, that's what I tell people too. This is the difference between DiCaprio and Cruise. Okay? Cruise does, if he can do it practically, he'll do it practically. Okay? Whether it's the train sequence, whether it's the jump off the cliff, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's climbing the tallest building in the world, whether it's hanging off the side of a plane, he'll do it practically. Now, he'll use CGI every now and then, okay? But at the same time, he understands there's that wow factor, there's that pop, because Hollywood is supposed to be about not only community, not only making, entertaining, but it's magic. When you see somebody jump off a cliff like that, you go, what? Huh? Really? Yeah. And then when you look at the backstory behind it, and love the BTS stuff, okay? When you look at the behind the scenes stuff, okay? And you go, my God, they developed this for a year. And this is why these movies take so long, guys. This was a 3-year shoot. I mean, granted, you had COVID, that interrupted it, but still, this was a 3-year shoot. I mean, whether he's hanging off the helicopter in Fallout, or whether he's, doing all of these things, that's one thing Cruise does. He keeps himself in tip-top shape. There is no other actor. He is a professional, okay? And he's wearing all these different hats too. He's wearing producer, he's wearing actor, he's wearing cinematographer, he's wearing all these different. He's always said in multiple interviews, okay, that he loves to know everybody else's job. I mean, he literally was like a cinematographer in Top Gun Maverick. And that was brand new technology. There's a reason why that movie made $1.5 billion. And part of it was the story, but they did everything practical. And that's the biggest thing. When you have everything done practically, then you go, wow. And it's one of those things where I think that, I said it before, and it wasn't a hot take. And look, if Top Gun Maverick can get nominated for Best Picture, I'm not saying it has. Look, I want to be crystal clear, okay? I'm not saying this thing has any chance of winning Best Picture. I'm not saying that at all. This will be an 8, 9, or 10. But now that we have expanded to 10 films, and, you've seen other films get nominated and you go, huh? I would not be shocked or surprised. And I put out a tweet today. By the way, guys, if you want to go follow me on Twitter, this is my Twitter handle down there in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay? I'm either tweeting about movies, or I'm in spaces about movies, or I'm conducting spaces about movies. So go follow me there. And if you, send me messages about tweets, I'll definitely reply to you. All that, getting back to what I was saying, though, I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if we're talking about when Oscars roll around, if this gets a Best Picture nomination. And you say, but David, none of the others have been nominated. You're right. But look at what they did with Dune. Dune was a two-parter. I mean, you have two films that got nominated for Best Picture. And yes, that did have some technical things. Look, don't be shocked if this gets a Best Production Design or a Best Editing or, even a Best Screenplay. I know it sounds out there, but you've already seen we could have had 3 sequels. Get nominated for Best Picture last year. We only had 2: Avatar: The Way of Water and Top Gun: Maverick. Okay, we could have had Wakanda Forever. A lot of people thought that could have gotten nominated. Okay. That being said, this is a part 1 of a part 2. I don't think, personally speaking, I think they're going to go above and beyond. It's going to be amazing. But I think I'm going to go out on a limb. This is going to be a hot take. I think this is getting nominated for Best Picture. I do. You have to look at it like this, too. We're already 6 months through the year. How many films of all of the films that have come out this year to date? How many films are there that are get absolute spot on dead locks? Not a lot. Not a lot. Okay. Now in the second half of the year, we've got a ton of them. Okay. We've got Dune Part 2. We've got, Killers of the Flower Moon. We've got, all of these other films. Okay. So if you're trying to come up with 10 movies, and they will say, well, Spider-Verse could be in there too. True. And there's precedent for it too. I mean, you had Toy Story 3, you had Beauty and the Beast, you had, other films there. But now we're starting to see a little bit of a shift. Because now the Academy is starting to put in films that are blockbusters. Well, you could say, well, Avatar 2 came out in December. True. But look at what it did. Look at what it did. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter when a film is released. Okay? If a film's released in August, then fine. If a film's released in February, okay. But it needs to be in that calendar year. You have to base it on quality, not when it is. Now, there have been films that, should have been nominated for Best Picture. One of them that, I did for the Perfect Movie series that literally changed the game in The Dark Knight. Okay? The Dark Knight literally changed how we view films and how many Best Picture nominees there are. We went from 5 to 10. Okay? For many years, it was up to 10, and now they went to a hard 10. So, once again, I go back to what I was saying. How many solid films have there been to come out for the, from January all the way down to now that are Best Picture nominees? And you can't tell me Super Mario Brothers. Okay? If you're going to nominate Mario, just play this out for a minute. If you're going to nominate Mario, okay, which by the way will definitely get in Best Animation, and that's why they have a whole category for it. It has to be so spectacular that it blows everybody away. So play this out for a minute. Assuming for a minute you nominate Mario for Best Picture as one of the 10 best films of the year, you've got to put Spider-Verse in there too. You have to. You have to. Because not only did it I won't say save it, but it was a very different kind of film. And the reason why Mario was so good is yet A, it was nostalgic. B, it was only 90 minutes. And C, it's one of those things where right now it's the only billion-dollar movie. Okay? It's the only billion-dollar movie right now. Now, if you're going to talk about, I mean, right now as it stands, and by the way, it's the third highest grossing domestic film of all time, or not all time, this year, rather this year. Okay, so I think that you've got to really put that in perspective. So, but I do think that, so as it stands right now, worldwide, okay, Super Mario has made $1.33 billion. Okay. Hey, Meadow, how are you? Glad that you could join me. So I was just talking about, so if you're going to talk about putting Mario in there, okay, you have to talk about putting Spider-Verse in there. You have to. Okay. Right now, Spider-Verse has made $611 million. It is number 4. Okay. So, I mean, if you're going to do now, both of those will be in there for best anime. I'm just saying this. If Maverick made, I believe it was $1.5 billion, okay? It's $1.5 billion last year. Well, we'll call it $1.5 billion. It was 1.495. Okay. If Maverick made $1.5 billion, okay, and you put that in the best picture, knowing it wasn't going to win, what do you think this is going to do? I'm not saying it's going to make $1.5 billion. I'm just saying that I think that would be really negligent of the Academy to not do that. Really negligent. But just getting back to the whole point, though, Cruise says he wants to make these things until he's 80, which leads me to another question. Okay? When I read this, I was kind of baffled. Now, I was under the impression that every time you see a part 1, okay, it was like a super finale. I mean, with the exam, I mean, you could take Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. You can take Harry Potter, The Deathly Hallows, Part 1 and 2. You can take The Hunger Games, Part 1 and 2. You can take whatever you want. Now that he's said, I want to make these things until I'm 80, does that change things? I mean, look, he can certainly do it. The man can certainly do it. I mean, he just turned 61. The man can certainly do it. Okay? The question is, and look, these are always going to make money. Okay? Fallout made almost $750 million. Okay? So they absolutely make money. I'm not saying that. The question is, and when you look at it like this, okay, you've got a release date for Part 2, Dead Reckoning Part 2. Okay, he is a space movie. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about this. I believe Tom Cruise has another movie coming out. Okay, it's supposed to be like a space type of film to be coming out. So that being said, let me look here real quick. I believe so. He has an untitled SpaceX project. So as it stands right now, okay, there's a film in production, which is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2, which we all knew was going to happen. Then projects in development, he has 5 of them. One of them is a SpaceX project. One is Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat. Of course, that is supposed to be a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. And then you have a couple of others. So, I mean, does he come back? Think about that. I mean, I gotta believe. I mean, he says he wants to do it until he's 80, and I have no doubt he could. But he's got all these things lined up. I mean, these things, that's what people don't understand. These things take years to develop. I mean, they had this going well before. I mean, once Fallout was done, they were starting to do prep on Dead Reckoning because they had to do the motorcycle jump. They had to do everything about it. So, anyways, guys, what do you think about Tom Cruise actually saying he wants to make Mission Impossible film until he's 80? Do you think he could do it? Or do you think he has too many other things on his plate? Do you think people would actually want to come back and continue their roles in these Mission Impossible films? Or do you think they'd walk away? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'm going to get back to you.